Hey, what's up, everybody? We have a new YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe right now. Leave a comment on the video. Share it with your friends. It's also a podcast, 3 and Out, wherever you listen with me, John Middlekauff, Apple, Spotify. We have you covered, as well as thevolume.com. We have merch. Check out. I got 3 and Out hats right now. Thevolume.com. Search the podcast. Buy some merch. When I was around the San Francisco Giants, back in like 2012 and 2014, Hunter Pence used to have this thing, and he called it championship blood. And in 2014, when the San Francisco Giants won the World Series, no one picked them. I mean, they were a wild card. They had to go on the road and win a game, I think in Pittsburgh, if I remember correctly. They had no business winning the World Series. But Hunter Pence just kept saying this over and over and over, was championship blood. It's in our DNA. And my favorite 2 athletes by a mile of our time, all time, are Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods. And to me, those guys are the epitome of that. Because Torrey Pines, the golf tournament, was on this weekend. I went back and watched some highlights of Tiger when he won the U.S. Open with a torn ACL and stress fractures in his knee. And it was like, how did he do this? Because that's what champions do. They just find a way. When everyone goes, what are you doing? In that tournament, his caddy told him to quit on Thursday. I'm watching this game with Mahomes going into it like playing the Ravens, best defense. Chiefs can't. It's hard for them to score. This is not going to be possible. I swear to God, 2 series in, I'm like, Chiefs are better. I can't believe I put money on the Ravens against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes because you felt it right away. Travis Kelce running around out there like he's a 5th-year guy, not 33, 34 years old. And you're watching, I mean, the quarterback is just, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, he's clearly the best quarterback, and he has been in the NFL for 4 or 5 years. Like, there's a gap between him and everyone else. Like, I thought last week, if you just take the 2 games that they played, Josh Allen's better than than Lamar Jackson. I would rather have Josh Allen than Lamar Jackson. That's not shitting on Lamar Jackson. I think clearly the best 3 guys in the NFL, are Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar based on the season. But you watch today, like, he left a lot out there to be desired. It was not pretty. You watch one guy who's the ultimate champion, who's going back to try to win the first back-to-back Super Bowl since the Patriots in the early 2000s. And you watch this other guy who's got MVPs and he, has great stats. And you're going, what the hell? It had a little bit of like I hate comparing him to this guy because I would take Lamar Jackson on my team 100 million times over the other guy. But it got to the point in Houston with James Harden was like all these MVPs, or I guess he only won 1, but Gerald Morey said he could win it all the time, all this points. And it's like, give me a fucking break. No one I'd want to bet against more in the playoffs than that guy. I don't feel that way quite like Lamar, but if he's playing a championship level team, you're just not going to pick him. Like that's where we're at. If you got the Kansas City Chiefs and they're playing Lamar Jackson, I don't care what the point spread is, you're taking the Kansas City Chiefs. We learned that today because of the gap between Patrick Mahomes, who's out there throwing to a rookie from SMU, Travis Kelce, who's 33 years old, Isaiah Pacheco, who's a 7th rounder, and just there wasn't 1 minute in that game, not 1 minute after it started, where you ever thought they were going to lose. And that's what champions do. You're like, of course Michael Jordan's going to win this. It's crazy. And you're talking about 2 guys now who are just approaching legendary shit, right? Both of them are already Hall of Famers, right? But they're going, like Belichick and Brady crossed the line after whatever year. Like these guys are going to the Hall of Fame to like, these guys are trying to hang out with Vince Lombardi up in heaven one day, right? These guys are going to, play golf in the back 9 in heaven with like Michael Jordan. And that's what it felt like today. Was like, this is as good as it gets. Night game was opposite, right? It was like, God, this is herky-jerky. Niners, what's going on here? I thought this was supposed to be a championship team. The Chiefs were like, we're the fucking champs. Everyone take note. Did you also notice, I didn't really watch the Niner celebration. I would imagine there was a lot of jubilation. You didn't really feel that way with the Chiefs. Like, yeah, of course we won. That's what we do. This is the 4th time we're going to this game. We're used to it. Guess what's going to happen next year? We plan on, I don't even know where the Super Bowl is in 2025. We plan on being there. That's what they feel like. And if you like sports, people always say like dynasty, I want new blood. Bullshit. Like it's you want someone to either root for or root against. And if you hate the Chiefs, easy team to root against. If you like greatness and you're not a Niner fan, it would put them in pretty rare air. Going back to back, be their third. What a win. I mean, what a freaking win by Andy and Patrick Mahomes and Spags and the whole team. I mean, it's a team game. And they were so much more. One thing Baltimore hung their hat on all season long was just being like this heavyweight fighter, being like the tough guy in the ring. And then you watch today, you're like, where is it? What's going on? Like, where's the tough guy? Roquan made a couple hits. Defensive line made a couple plays. Before, like, one thing they hung their hat on was being the bully. I saw him do it against the 49ers. They bullied him around. And today the Chiefs showed up there and they hit him square back in the jaw. They say, listen, we're not intimidated by all your tough guy bullshit. We're tough too. We're going to win this game. And Mahomes made play after play. They just are so under control. One thing with football, when you're the home team and you get down, you got to keep your cool. Like this is why you train so hard, right? You got to keep your cool. The moment you get frenetic, the moment you get fidgety, Lamar got that way. Their whole team felt discombobulated. Todd Monken felt discombobulated. You can implode. You can lose listen, the Lions were a really good team. I don't think they were some like championship level team. Now, who knows? Maybe they could have won the Super Bowl, but to play the Chiefs, when they're playing their A game, to beat them, even if you got a better rosters, you're gonna have to play your A game. You start playing your B minus C plus game, you're screwed. And you could argue that was like a C minus game by the Ravens. And part of that is Chiefs coaching. And a lot of this becomes tactical. That's what NFL football is. It's tactical. That fourth down, when it was 27-24, and Dan Campbell went for it, they ran this concept of the guy coming across the middle. And for a split second, obviously Jared Goff thought it was man coverage. And the guy was going to be open what it looked like on a little curl. And that Dre Greenlaw was going to chase the dude in the slot. And then they broke off into like some zone coverage, and Dre Greenlaw was sitting there. All of a sudden, Jared Goff had to hesitate, and then the defensive linemen were all over his ass, and he had to scramble. And then he threw it, and it hit the turf, and fourth down, Niners get the ball. And listen, I don't even know how good Steve Wilks is. Might not be all his fault. The players aren't playing that well, but tactically, I wouldn't put Steve Wilks up there with like, Belichick or anything. But that was a tactical move. And that was a huge reason the 49ers won the game. You have to make adjustments. And it's hard to make adjustments when your players are all out of sorts. And we talk a lot about, I think we see this a lot in the NBA, right? Players choke. I think they do. A lot of times you start playing hot potato, you don't want the ball. I'm a big golf guy. You see it a lot in golf. A guy implodes. You can feel him getting tight. He just ball starts flying everywhere. He starts rushing himself, starts hitting too fast, pumps it in the water. You can just feel it. We don't see the coordinators, right? We don't have a camera on them like we do the players. I think you would be shocked how many times coordinators, their ass gets really, really tight and they kind of lose their sense. And I think that happens more often than not. Like ultimately, Dan Campbell went for it because that's all he does is go for it, which I think if you go, what do you do? Well, I just always do this. I think that's stupid. Yeah, I do this the majority of the time, but if this happens, I'm going to do this, right? And you saw Todd Monken, and it just felt like he got tight. And I'm not absolving Lamar. He also played bad. He did not look good. But that combination of those two guys, like this is not in basketball. I'm always putting on the players. You just fucking one-on-one against a guy. You can either score or you can't. In football, to me, I put it much more on the coaches a lot of the time. Trust me, Steve Wilks, would he have had a job tomorrow morning if the Niners would have lost that game? I don't know. You ain't firing Bosa or Fred Warner. You ain't firing Charvarius Ward. Fire the coordinator, right? And I thought today, Todd Monken, you can't tell me, I didn't have a camera in his office when he's calling these plays, that he didn't get super tight. Because, listen, it happens to me. You get flustered. You don't think straight. And it was Belichick's greatest attribute. It's now Andy's greatest attribute. Sometimes Kyle can get really tight. Sean McVay can get tight. It's human nature. It's actually understandable. But when you're the play caller, you got to stay calm because it feeds onto your players. And it was just an abomination by the Ravens. As good of a win as it was by the Chiefs, and I do believe that it might be the third best win of Andy Reid's career. I think the two best wins of his career are obviously the Super Bowl. It doesn't get any better than that. But I think you could say today, the way they went into Baltimore and shoved them around and beat their ass, that's the third best win of his career. It was that impressive. Just a coaching clinic of like, I'm Andy freaking Reid. I'm the best coach in the league right now. I'm headed straight to the Hall of Fame whenever I want. You think you guys are beating me? And that's not how he ever talks. And he gave John, high character, high class guy. That was a clinic. And we used to see that a lot with Belichick during the Brady years. You're starting to see that with him.